You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on the nomination of Brett M. Kavanaugh of Maryland to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court shall be brought to a close? The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll. On this vote, the yeas are 51, the noes are 49. The motion is agreed to.
It's all but over. Brett Kavanaugh will be the next Supreme Court Justice. It will become official tomorrow. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment, but first, our top stories at 7. Red tide has devastated businesses up and down the Suncoast, and of course, hurting businesses means hurting employees. Millions of dollars in funding and small business loans were created to help serve the service industry workers on the Suncoast affected by red tide, but workers tell us they are not getting any of that help. Tourists have been non-existent and locals aren't venturing outside often, and while many workers have been able to stay afloat with their hourly wages, those who rely on tips have struggled.
You can't do it. Yeah, there's a red tide relief out there for the business owners, but what about the workers? You know, we're used to making $70, $80 a day, and that helps us. We're down to making $14 to $24 in an afternoon shift. Our shifts are cut, our hours are cut. We can't go out, we're looking for second jobs, nobody's hiring.
Workers will now be holding a rally this weekend to ask for help from the community. President Trump is returning to the Sunshine State Monday, but not to campaign. Former Congressman Ron DeSantis won a come-from-behind victory in the August primary with the help of Trump's endorsement, but his campaign said he will not be with the president because the Orlando speech is an official White House event and not a political stop. The White House says Trump will address the International Association of Chiefs of Police about law enforcement issues and securing the border with Mexico. The DeSantis campaign says a Trump political visit to Florida is in the works. Authorities say a Polk County man threatened to shoot senators who don't support Judge Brett Kavanaugh for the U.S. Supreme Court. Deputies say James Patrick Jr. posted on his Facebook page he had bought several hundred rounds of ammunition, and he says he was ready to, quote, sacrifice his life for the country. Patrick also said he would shoot any law enforcement member responding to his home, but thankfully, no one was hurt during his arrest. Sexual abuse survivor support groups are encouraged more victims may feel able to come forward and report past abuse. This following an announcement by Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi. Her office has launched a statewide probe into sexual abuse by Catholic priests. Bondi has set up a tip site to allow victims and anyone with information about priest abuse to report what they know. She says it is too early to know how many Floridians, former residents or visitors, may have been molested.
It's hard to come forward and say this is what happened to me and to feel that shame, but healing happens every day, and it's possible to heal whether you're 75 or 13. Life can be better.
Tips about past abuse can be reported at myfloridalegal.com/stopabuse. Victims currently experiencing abuse should call 911. In trying to distance himself from a multi-state lawsuit that could eliminate insurance protections for people with pre-existing conditions, Governor Rick Scott now says he believes health care should be a right. Scott's statement, which came during a debate against Senator Bill Nelson, is at odds with other Republican politicians and followed years of Scott fighting against heavy government involvement in providing health care. Even before he launched his first campaign for governor, Scott ran television ads opposing the idea of having a public option as part of the federal health care overhaul pushed by President Obama. Now time to head over to ABC7's chief meteorologist, Bob Harrigan, with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We are looking at basically the nice day out there today. A few showers heading toward Lakewood Ranch. Lakewood Ranch is going to see a few isolated showers here, so they have the Music on Main out there. There could be some rain. It won't be around long, and there's a few isolated showers around. Just as I said earlier today at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, there's a sea breeze that has developed today, and that sea breeze is going to be the focal point for a few showers in Manatee County and North Sarasota County. It's hung up right along I-75. We're already starting to see some of that action right now. South Sarasota County We've had our earlier showers this afternoon that kind of blew that sea breeze out into the Gulf, but still kind of hanging on there in Manatee County, so we'll keep an eye on that. Right there near Bayshore Gardens, that shower activity heading to the west. Not a very intense storm, but could bring some brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall at times. Quickly moving off to the west, and then we will see a pretty nice evening. Right now it's 85 at the airport, and the dew point temperature is still pretty high, so it feels like 92 out there. And as far as the tropics go, yes, the season's not over yet. We're watching a system down south in the Western Caribbean, which is showing some signs of development. Not so much this weekend. I think better chances come Monday as it emerges into the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have much more on that system and let you know about it. And looks like it could have an impact on our weather next week. Alan?
Thanks, Bob. Senator Susan Collins and Joe Manchin just dropped a bombshell. They will vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court. The vote by the full Senate may happen tomorrow night. Mary Maloney is in Washington to explain the final showdown tomorrow.
Vote.
Senator Susan Collins is a yes. The Republican senator siding with her party, announcing she will vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court.
Mr. President, I will vote to confirm Judge Kavanaugh.
The most contentious confirmation of a Supreme Court nominee in decades has taken dramatic twists and turns. Multiple women accused Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct.
They're having fun at my expense,
prompting Kavanaugh to issue a passionate denial to the claims.
You have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy.
And the FBI to conduct an additional background check. In the midst of the roar from protesters,
The yeas are
today
51,
only one
the
voice
noes are
echoed on the
49.
Senate floor.
The motion is agreed to.
By the slimmest of margins, senators advanced Kavanaugh's confirmation to a final vote this weekend.
Kavanaugh.
But even with Collins' decision, Kavanaugh's fate isn't sealed. Some senators could change their minds in the final moments.
Do you plan to vote yes tomorrow?
No, unless something big changed. I don't see what would.
And Vice President Mike Pence could be forced to break a tie. The importance of the Supreme Showdown isn't lost on senators or the country. If Kavanaugh is confirmed, he will replace retired Justice Anthony Kennedy, often considered the swing vote on the Supreme Court. The committed conservative would potentially shift the balance of the court to the right for generations. Now, Washington waits and wonders what's next. In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
In the moment, what impact the Kavanaugh confirmation is having on the midterm elections. The trapezoid is next.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com. Gatto's got it.
The Venice Area Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase is coming to the Venice Community Center October 5th and 6th from 9 to 3. There will be free health screenings, door prizes, and products and services from 75 area businesses. You can also enter to win $100 in 5 drawings each day. Enjoy a great food court and see new boats and cars in an outdoor display. Parking and admission are free. The Venice Area Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase, sponsored in part by ABC7.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
America was built on a love for the outdoors. Join us every week for the best shows celebrating the outdoor lifestyle. Outdoor America. Live free.
This weekend on the ABC7 live stream.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Welcome back. Well, there was smoke and fire, there was suspense and melodrama, and in the end, elections matter. Brett Kavanaugh will be a Supreme Court justice. Democrats can complain all they want about the week-long and deliberately limited FBI investigation into sexual assault allegations against Judge Kavanaugh, but in the end, 2 of the 3 Republican senators who were hedging announced that they would vote to confirm. So did one Democrat, Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Joining us for more are Democratic strategist Gabriel Hammond, Connie Bruni of the Sarasota Republican Party, and Jacob Ogles of SRQ Magazine. But first, with our poll question tonight, here is our digital producer, Chloe Conroy.
Alan, a few hours ago, we posted the following question on our Facebook page. Who do you think will be more motivated to vote in the midterms because of the Kavanaugh confirmation? Do you think it's the Democrats or Republicans? 52% of our Facebook viewers say the Democrats will have more motivation compared to 47% saying the Republicans will be more motivated with the midterms. So what do you think? Coming up later, I will show you some of the comments of what people are saying on our Facebook page. Alan, back to you.
All right, folks, let's start our conversation here. I'm wondering what your initial impressions are. Gabriel, we saw over the last week Jeff Flake from Arizona, who really, in all the suspense you could imagine, said that he would only vote for confirmation if there was this FBI investigation. It is what it is. The question was whether Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska would hold out. And then all of a sudden we also have a Democrat, Joe Manchin, who is in the re-election battle in West Virginia. What were you thinking today as this was all playing out?
Well, before we opine on our personal opinions on whether Kavanaugh should be sent to the Supreme Court or not, let's drill down into the quantitative, the numbers, the facts of public opinion on this confirmation process. Comparing it to Anita Hill a number of years ago, more people did not believe Anita Hill than did. Compared to Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, more people believe Dr. Christine Blasey Ford over Brett Kavanaugh. How does that play out on a partisan basis? 80% of Democrats believe Justice, or soon-to-be Justice Brett Kavanaugh should not be confirmed. 80% of Republicans believe he should be confirmed. But here's where it gets interesting. No party-affiliated voters.
But as I said, Gabriel, elections matter. The Republicans won, Democrats lost, and Connie, welcome to the trapezoid. Let's get your reaction. The polls do say that most Americans are not supportive of this nomination, but as I said, elections matter.
I support the nomination. I'd like to know if anyone at the table's ever been a victim of sexual assault.
Well, I have. Certainly I have not. I think it's a relevant question.
It is, because it goes to the heart of the whole situation, of what it was there. Do we believe this person? Do we not? I do believe that Dr. Ford was the victim of a terrible experience. I listened very carefully. I watched her on television like everybody else in the country. But I'm not convinced that it was actually this individual.
Okay, so Jacob, that really is what it gets down to a lot of people. You could argue, if you want, about the limits of the FBI investigation, but it's awfully hard for these senators in the situation that they were in to vote whether, you know, for this nomination and take into account the sexual assault, if there was one, without that kind of evidence after 30 years?
Well, the age of the allegation has certainly been a part of this, but I think there's also something about the nature of what we're talking about. This isn't a criminal investigation. This is not a matter of somebody bringing criminal charges or having a defendant's rights violated in terms of Brett Kavanaugh. I imagine there's a lot of people who can have a lot of sympathy for Brett Kavanaugh in this situation and still think his credibility was undermined throughout this whole process.
We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the week in Washington will continue right after we get a check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We are watching the tropical system, as I alluded to earlier, down to our south right now. This area of disturbed weather is going to be drifting off to the northwest. The chances of it developing over the next 5 days has been bumped up now to 70%, and it looks like it could become a tropical depression or a tropical storm late Sunday, early Monday, and then move into the Gulf of Mexico. Where it goes, there's still a lot of uncertainty, but the forecast models are starting to suggest more of a panhandle hit, but that can change quite rapidly because these systems that are in their developing stages can sometimes redevelop 100 miles away from where it initially was. And we saw that with many storms down there in the Western Caribbean. There's the European, there it goes. Again, in this situation, this particular model showing it going off toward the panhandle of Florida, it would be close enough and we'd be on the right side of this unorganized system, which means we'll get quite a bit of rainfall. I think that's going to be the concern here, is we're going to get some pretty moderate to heavy rainfall at times beginning Tuesday, and it will stick around through Wednesday. Now the GFS model is showing a little bigger system and a little slower mover, moving through the Northwest Caribbean and then up into the Gulf of Mexico. And you'll notice this purple here on the scale. That's tropical storm force winds, or close to it, at the you know, a little bit above the surface. So we could see the possibility of some tropical storm force winds if it were to follow this course and if it were to develop. The chances of it developing, though, are getting higher each time at 70%. That's pretty significant at this point. And then that too has it going toward the panhandle of Florida. What we would see here, the timing of it would be basically Tuesday and Wednesday with some showers and thunderstorms. We'd be on the right side, and there's a potential there to get some pretty heavy rainfall. This thing has been out here for over 2 weeks now. This is Leslie continuing to spin, still a tropical storm, and it's heading southeast back into some warmer water. I don't think it's going to intensify, but it's going to go back toward the southeast over the next 5 days. It will have been out there, if that were the case, over 17 days. So again, it's a fairly significant storm out there, not harming any land, which is good. I mentioned Lakewood Ranch. We have a few fair weather cumulus clouds earlier. It was nice out there today. They have Music on Main there taking place right now. There is one lone shower that's going to be moving on in or close by. Most of the rain is weakening, though, as it makes its way toward the west. You can see from the Titan radar picture there hasn't been a whole lot of activity. We had a few showers earlier down into South Sarasota County, and now that activity is starting to flare up just a little bit into Manatee. 1 or 2 lone showers not out of the question. That should be about it. The sea breeze is right there, and that's the reason why we're starting to see some storms firing up near Terracea, and also one there near Bayshore Gardens earlier. Down to our south, that sea breeze has been beat up a little bit and carried off into the Gulf, so there shouldn't be any problems down there. We'll have some drier air around tomorrow. With that drier air in place, it looks as though we'll see just a few isolated showers late in the day. It'll still be warm, though, with that southeasterly wind. You'll notice these this moisture here heading off to the northeast. That's that high shear that's in the Northwest Caribbean Sea, which is going to inhibit that tropical system from developing on Saturday or Sunday, for that matter, but a better chance as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Well, as far as temperatures go, it's not too bad out there. 85 degrees now at Sarasota Bradenton Airport. 78, though, in Venice, 78 in Inglewood, and the water temperature still a warm 85 degrees. For boaters, tomorrow looks good. Seas will be running right around 2 feet. We'll have a northeast wind at 10 knots. There may be a little sea breeze developing in the afternoon. Here's the extended forecast, and as we see it, a slight chance for a shower tomorrow afternoon. A little bit better, but not much. On Sunday, the weekend looks good, and then we'll be watching the tropics closely throughout next week. Alan will be back with his guests right after this.
I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Accords on sale is now during our model year-end sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American Car of the Year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for Accords, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
Welcome back. We are talking about the week in Washington, and joining us for more are Democratic strategist Gabriel Hammond, Connie Bruni of the Sarasota Republican Party, and Jacob Ogles of SRQ Magazine. So we put this question in a poll that's on Facebook right now. You can go onto our Facebook page and vote on it. Who is more likely to be motivated to vote in the midterms because of the Kavanaugh nomination? And the early results are 52% say Democrats, 48% say Republicans. Connie, are you surprised by that? Because over the last couple of days, we have heard about how Republicans are now renewed in their enthusiasm.
I would agree with you that the Republicans are very motivated to get out and vote. If they were bored before, they're definitely not any longer.
Gabe?
I would say the Democrats are unbelievably motivated by this. I mean, there's so many stones that were left unturned by the FBI in terms of allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, so that's going to continue to be a dark cloud over the Senate and over virtually every partisan election in the country.
Gabriel, we're going to drill down on the races here on the Suncoast right now, but what have you seen in your travels comparing Democratic enthusiasm and Republican enthusiasm for the midterms?
Asking me, right. Well, I think that you're seeing a lot of growing enthusiasm among Democrats, but you're also seeing a lot of entrenching with Republicans. I think in terms of how this particular high-profile story is going to affect things, this is a matter of winning in the Senate means losing politically in the midterms. The stakes just are going to get astoundingly lower for Republicans 24 hours from now after the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation has been already done. So there's reason for Democrats to remain angry. There's not as much at stake for Republican voters anymore going into the midterms when we don't have a Supreme Court seat for grabs anymore.
Meanwhile, I've seen reporting over the last couple of days saying that, usually, especially with the midterms, the Republicans are much more organized. They have their ground game really working for them. Adam Smith from the Tampa Bay Times said that for the first time, it appears that the Democrats are more organized in terms of the ground game than the Republicans are, Connie.
I would tend to agree with that locally. I've seen that because I was at the polls on Election Day during the primary, and I know that the Democrats are, to their credit, very organized. I will say this about this particular issue. Supreme Court, Supreme Court, Supreme Court. It's the number one thing I said to my friends during the presidential election. If they didn't like Trump, all I said was Supreme Court, Supreme Court, Supreme Court.
And frankly, Gabriel,
here it is.
That's what the Republicans said all along here. And Democrats, this was all out there. But Democrats were not motivated to come out in 2016 because of the possibility of the Supreme Court.
Well, pendulum swings both ways in the political realm. And looking at the numbers, for the first time in decades, more Democrats have requested absentee vote-by-mail ballots than Republicans. That's a monumental figure. Here locally, over the last 4 weeks, there have been very well-attended canvass drives for both Margaret Good and David Shapiro.
Yeah.
I have organized a few of them. The first one, we had 65 people in attendance, and we reached over 800 doors. I don't know of any of the Republican events going on that weekend. And then 2 weeks later, Manatee and Sarasota County joined forces, and we had nearly 100 people in attendance and reached over 1,000 doors. So there's a lot of energy this year.
Okay, we are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on the Week in Washington will continue after a quick break. Stay with us.
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
Strong storm, the trees are down and the lights are out.
No air conditioning, no refrigerator.
I get how strong the storm was, but I need my power back.
We get it. We don't just work for FPL, we're customers too.
After a storm hits, restoring power safely and as quickly as possible is our #1 priority. That's why we never stop preparing. We have the best resources in place so we can be ready to respond in good weather and bad.
Storm season is here. We're ready. Are you?
Rugs as Art. You know the name. You know the building. But do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore. But there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Recovery from mental and substance use disorders is real.
You can recover.
It's possible. It happens every day.
Never give up on yourself.
Discover hope and help.
I thought I was too far gone. I wasn't.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
The world is a beautiful place again.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000. Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
The Venice Area Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase is coming to the Venice Community Center October 5th and 6th from 9 to 3. There will be free health screenings, door prizes, and products and services from 75 area businesses. You can also enter to win $100 in 5 drawings each day. Enjoy a great food court and see new boats and cars in an outdoor display. Parking and admission are free. The Venice Area Chamber of Commerce Business Showcase, sponsored in part by ABC7.
Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4. Weekdays on ABC7.
Welcome back. We are talking about the week in Washington, and joining us for more are Democratic strategist Gabriel Hammond, Connie Bruni of the Sarasota Republican Party, and Jacob Ogles of SRQ Magazine. But first, what are you thinking? Our digital producer Chloe Comboy is tracking our comments. Chloe.
Alan, here's what some of the viewers are saying about who they think will be more motivated to vote in the midterms after the Kavanaugh confirmation. John wrote this on Facebook. The election will be a referendum on Trump, given Trump's 60% disapproval rating. The results on the morning of November 7th won't be pretty for the GOP. On the flip side, Peter wrote, I'm an independent and I've always been in the middle, but after the disgraceful stuff the Democrats have done, I'm going to re-register as a Republican. Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. Again, we encourage our viewers to go to the ABC7 Facebook page and comment your thoughts. Alan, back to you.
Thanks, Chloe. So let's continue our conversation here. But here's the thing. 1 month ago, the Democrats had an 11-point lead in the generic ballot. The generic ballot is put generic Republican against generic Democrat. Who do you want to see control Congress? That lead is down to 2 points now, Gabriel. How do you explain that?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I dismiss that poll because when you're polling a congressional race, you need to take the poll within the boundaries of the district.
That's fair.
Not nationally.
That's fair.
And right now, there's a very competitive race in Congressional District 16 in Florida, which is between Vern Buchanan and David Shapiro. It encompasses Hillsborough, southern portion of Hillsborough County, Manatee County, and Sarasota County.
But I know you're going to take issue of this, but a new University of North Florida poll came out this week showing that Vern Buchanan has a 9-point lead. 538, the national website, now gives Vern Buchanan a 90% chance of winning this race.
One thing on polls, Gwen Graham was going to be the nominee on the Democratic ticket for governor. So I'm not looking at polls that closely, particularly ones that are publicly released, and particularly ones that are released by campaigns. I looked at that poll very closely from the University of North Florida, and they've only polled one congressional race in Florida in the last few years, so they have no track record polling congressional races.
Jacob, I want to ask you about this, and we were looking at the poll here, again, the University of North Florida poll showing Vern Buchanan 49%, David Shapiro 40%. We still have several weeks to go, and our air on ABC7 and other media outlets are basically besieged by ads from both Vern Buchanan and David Shapiro. It is one of the most hotly contested races in the country. Yes. But what do you take of both the generic poll we were talking about, and there were actually 2 polls this week that indicated that Congressman Buchanan has a substantial lead?
Yeah, there was another one from St. Pete polls that had Vern Buchanan at 50, which is very significant because if you get 50, guess what? You've won. I think, to be perfectly honest with you, when I'm on the ground talking with people and checking out social media and just feeling what it's like in the air, I think there's some momentum behind David Shapiro's candidacy and his campaign. It really feels like he's building something, but I don't know right now, based on the polling that's come out, if there's enough room, if there's enough track, if you will, for him to catch up with Vern Buchanan. And that's a problem. If Vern Buchanan has already shored up half the vote, then everything that matters. David Shapiro could swing every undecided voter his way and still lose.
So, Connie, we've talked to a number of senior ranking Republicans in the Sarasota Republican Party and elsewhere over the last couple of weeks who are concerned about that race, and all say this is really going to be tight, and they're saying that Congressman Buchanan may be basically enslaved to the national mood right now, which has been very difficult.
The national mood, I'm in 17, I should tell you that.
That's okay.
I'm not in 16, but...
That race is a whole other story.
Yes, it is, a whole different story. But in general, when you talk about the generic ballot and how that is narrowing, you're seeing the same thing. We're in a country, obviously, based on what we saw today, even in the vote on cloture, extremely partisanly divided. I think you're going to see the same thing here.
But you also saw in House 72 last spring a lot of Republican women cross over and not vote for James Buchanan and vote for Margaret Good for a lot of different reasons. And is the concern that the same thing is going to happen in a couple of weeks?
Well, this is two men. We'll start with that. So it's not the same. And we're actually dealing with very different candidates. I think Gabriel's point is very well taken. You have to look at the individual candidates when you're looking at this. Vern Buchanan is a definitely larger-than-life individual who has done a good job, and I think that voters are going to reward him.
Gabriel, what's the strategy here for Democrats?
Well, here's a harbinger for what's to come is what happened in District 72 with Margaret Good and James Buchanan, the offspring of Congressman Vern Buchanan. Margaret Good had a decisive victory that year, despite having hundreds of thousands of dollars of negative ads thrown against her. The polls really mean nothing right now, and what the story is that Buchanan's campaign has launched negative ad after negative ad. If they were ahead, they would have gone positive. It's what the campaigns do tells you where that race is headed.
Right, but House 72 really was telling in a lot of different ways, but Jacob, Manatee County is a whole other story here, and so is the southern part of Hillsborough County, which makes up, I believe, 30% of this district.
And it's worth noting that Dave Shapiro did not win the primary in southern Hillsborough County. He did win it by a significant amount in Sarasota. And honestly, if we're being honest, like, all the media is based in Sarasota. So it may be that we're even getting a tainted viewpoint because we're in the strongest Democratic part of the region. That's where we're doing most of our reporting.
On the other hand, let me point this out. David Shapiro is now advertising on other TV stations, I hate to mention them, but in the Tampa area, which is really something because it's very expensive to do, but also, you know, on the air television advertising works, Connie. This is not just another election year. This is a candidate with substantial means behind him.
He does. I'll give you that, and it is very expensive. When we talk about 72, though, I want to go back to that. That was a special election. That's a whole different animal than what we're dealing with a regular primary and general election, which is the cycle we're in now. So we need to look at that.
I'd like to know, because we just did our Where the Votes Are analysis at SRQ Magazine, quick plug, and we were looking at the turnout in every state house district, and actually, in the August election, more Democrats voted in District 72 than voted in February, and fewer Republicans voted in 72 than voted in February. So at least that part of the district, I think you're seeing Democrats really coalesce. I mean, I think a lot of us see the money advantage that Margaret Good has over Ray Pelon right now and think that that race is probably still leaning pretty firmly in Democratic hands. Whether that can extend into Manatee, that's a very hard game for David Shapiro. You are right that the numbers do not balance in that way. No. And when you look at the turnout in August, it wasn't the same story as in 72.
All right, we have to take a quick break. We're going to come back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with zero down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com. Gatto's got it.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
The body, it is a work of art and a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. A new approach called immunotherapy works by helping our immune system correctly identify and eradicate many types of cancer cells. Speak with your doctor and visit su2c.org/immunotherapy to learn more. Your body might just be your greatest hope.
Our guests will going to be joining us for final thoughts, but first, what are you thinking? Digital producer Chloe Conboy is tracking the comments. Chloe.
Alan, we had over 500 votes in our Facebook poll during the show, and 52% say Democrats are more motivated in the midterms than 48% of people saying Republicans are more motivated in the midterms following the Kavanaugh confirmation. The poll will be open for the next 24 hours, so there's still time to vote on the ABC7 Facebook page. Alan, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Chloe. That still continues to say a lot in terms of at least what local folks are thinking about in terms of who is more motivated by the Kavanaugh nomination. Let's talk a couple of minutes about the governor's race. Andrew Gillum has been out there in the area. Both Gillum and DeSantis have been around here. What's your take on this right now, Gabriel, in terms of Gillum, in terms of coalescing the Democratic vote around here and the polls that continuing show that he is leading?
I think the most important vote in the governor's race is the one made by Mother Nature. And with the green sludge coming out of Lake Okeechobee, that is exacerbating the red tide on now both the east and west coast of Florida. People are really fired up. We've had nearly 20 years of Republican rule in Tallahassee. Rick Scott defunded the water management districts as well as the Department of Environmental Protection. So people are fighting back, and that's why the Democrats have a fighting shot this year.
And I'm wondering what your take is, because as we reported earlier this week, Adam Smith from the Tampa Times called the DeSantis campaign wobbly. It seemed unfocused. They were kind of light in terms of a platform and position, but they hired Susie Wiles this week, who ran President Trump's campaign in Florida and did pretty well for himself.
That doesn't seem wobbly.
Right. But, do you think that DeSantis is turning things around? Have you noticed any differences in the last couple of days?
I know, for instance, he's going to be in Sarasota County tomorrow in the afternoon.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
But, comparatively, Mayor Gillum is out there with all sorts of policy positions on a whole lot of things. And up until now, when you would ask Congressman DeSantis specific questions, you would get generalities.
I noticed today he came out with an economic plan for the state of Florida. Obviously, our economy is very revved up. We have the lowest unemployment since 1969. There's a lot going on. And I think that voters are excited about that, and they should be. I look at DeSantis. I know he's endorsed by Trump, so for me as a Republican, that's important. I look at Mr. Gillum. I know that he's involved with Mr. Soros. For me as a Republican, that's a no-no.
Okay. Jacob, you cover these campaigns every time they come to town. Have you noticed any changes? What are you seeing in terms of how the Suncoast and voters here are thinking about this race?
Well, I'll tell you, Gabe is right in the sense that red tide has been a heck of a running mate for the blue wave. That has definitely hurt Republicans because they are the party in power. And while people are making a compelling case, this is a natural phenomenon that they don't have that much control over, I think voters are really anxious about it and want to see somebody do something and promise they can do something about that. And Governor Scott and the Republican Party haven't been able to undo anything or prevent red tide from happening, so they're going to get punished by that to some degree. I do think that, you talked about two upset candidates on the governor's race. Andrew Gillum wasn't expected to win the Democratic nomination either. But definitely Gillum's campaign has become much more organized. Their events feel a lot more solid and professional. And, DeSantis feels like he's just starting to get traction right now. Yes, he's got 4 or 5 stops this weekend across the state. But there's been several weeks when he wasn't doing anything. Andrew Gillum had some weeks where he wasn't doing anything, but he was raising substantial amounts of money. And I think that you can definitely see a marked difference. And yeah, I can't remember the last time that the Democrats at the statewide level felt more organized than the Republicans do, but that's the case right now.
So, Gabe, what worries you the most?
Well, here's what really happened on the DeSantis side. He relied on Trump to carry him through the primary, and he's sort of coming off of that Trump sugar high as we move into the general, and it's tough to rebuild a campaign as absentee ballots arrive in people's mailboxes today, tomorrow, and the next day. What worries me the most, Gillum might run into some legal issues in Tallahassee, but the Republicans have already put that out into the open and the voters have rejected it. He's not involved anymore with those investigations, so I'm very bullish on the Gillum candidacy.
Connie, what worries you the most?
As far as the governor's race?
Yep.
The governor's race, I'm excited about DeSantis.
Okay. I mean, what is your take in terms of, the perception is that Gillum has been well organized here. People say that, he is electric on the campaign trail here, and he has been leading since primary day after winning this.
I will tell you, I escaped from California, the People's Republic of California, because of those socialist views. So I am concerned if that's the direction that our state is headed for my living here.
Jacob, you get the final word.
Well, an interesting thing about the word socialism, I think it's been thrown around at anything pro-government for so many years. It's starting to lose meaning with a lot of voters. The thing is, Andrew Gillum has got a lot of energy around his campaign. He's got a cult of personality around him. Ron DeSantis hasn't been able to do that yet.
Okay, we want to thank you all. We want to thank our guests, Democratic strategist Gabriel Hammond, Connie Bruni of the Sarasota Republican Party, and Jacob Ogles of SRQ Magazine. When we return, even with all the news surrounding Brett Kavanaugh, President Trump is keeping his eyes on the midterms. What is he doing to prevent the blue wave? But first, let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. You've got that cult of personality, right? Absolutely. Looking at the ABC7 tower cam showing nice evening out there. Get a look at the sunset. This was from 7 o'clock until the present time, and we have a few clouds. They're all moving off basically to the west, and that's a good sign. We have this easterly wind now, and that sea breeze has been knocked out a bit, and we had some photos sent in. This one from Stephen Smith, getting it from Vamo, the sun setting right there, and a pretty nice evening as well. We are looking at a few showers, still possible, but that rain chance is really quite small, and if you see some rainfall, it shouldn't be sticking around all that long at all. In fact, the live radar sweep showing 1 or 2 brief showers around. You can see that just to the east and right along I-75 near Fruitville. And then a few showers have been moving through parts of Terracea, heading toward the north end of Anna Maria. But as I said, not to worry too much. These storms are moving to the west, and they're not all that strong. And it looks like we'll see a pretty decent weekend ahead, too. Then things change a little bit as we watch what happens here. This is in the Western Caribbean Sea, a little disturbance there. We'll watch it closely over the weekend. It'll start to get a little bit better organized by Sunday evening, I believe. And then the models will have a better chance of getting a little bit more accurate forecast as to where it may head. Right now, there's no real centralized area of low pressure. It's a very broad area of low pressure, and these take time to develop when they're these poorly organized systems that you see right here, very large scale. So what we're going to see is a very weak system moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Looks like early on Monday, and then there's some potential for it to get a little stronger as conditions will become somewhat favorable, not totally favorable, but somewhat favorable. So we're not going to be dealing with a major hurricane by any stretch of the imagination. More than likely not a hurricane, but we'll have to watch it real closely. More than likely a tropical storm. The next name up is Michael as it heads off into the Gulf of Mexico. This, Leslie, has been around for a long, long time, over 2 weeks now, and could be 3 before it's all said and done as it heads off to the southeast, but that's no concern to any land right now, and it won't be over the next 5 days. Notice this dry air in place over the Bahamas, stretching off toward Florida. Well, that's going to be in place throughout Saturday. Sunday, it will thin out a bit, and Sunday we'll have a little bit better chance for some showers, but you'll notice all this is upper level cloudiness, okay? This moisture basically moving off to the east pretty quickly too. And that's good. That keeps storms from developing, and that's going to be the case, I think, on Saturday and Sunday. Well, temperatures right now 85 in Sarasota. Temperatures in the 80s up and down the coast here in some places like Cortez, Bradenton, Mayaca City, Venice at 76. The Gulf water temperature is still warm, 85 degrees. Currently, we have 85. Still feels like 92 out there. Barometer 29.99 inches and the dew point 74. The high today was finally not near 90, and well, not near, but it was near 90, but it never got to 90. 89, the high, a couple degrees shy of the record and a couple degrees above the normal. Northeast winds at 10 knots. Seas will be running right around 2 feet with a light chop out there. We'll check the 7-day forecast out for you right here. 20% chance, good day on Saturday, a little bit warm side though. 30% chance on Sunday, and then we look for a much better chance for rain. We'll be on the right side of the system if indeed it does develop, and that usually brings us a pretty good chance for showers and storms Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'll be right back after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TrueStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
Monday at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News.
How workers can save on healthcare costs next year in HealthSmart.
Monday at 5 on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. Talk with your doctor to create a treatment plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Checking primetime headlines, all eyes focus on Capitol Hill and the confirmation of Judge Brett Kavanaugh. President Trump is keeping the midterm elections in focus. He has been trying to rally supporters to get out and vote in races that could give Democrats back control of the House. ABC's Janae Norman is at the White House.
President Trump rallied supporters last night, emphasizing the importance of voting in the midterms because, as he put it, even though he's not on the ballot, he's on the ballot. President Trump has been drumming up support ahead of November's midterm elections, which are often seen as a referendum on how the president is performing.
So we're just 5 weeks away from one of the most important congressional elections in our lifetime.
The President Trump said he believes there will be a red wave next month. The president's party normally loses seats during the midterms, and this year's races could result in Democrats gaining control of one and possibly both chambers of Congress.
Can you imagine Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House? Don't do that to me.
While the president joked about what that could look like for him, it's likely the outcome of Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation process will have an impact on the outcome on November 6th.
But all you have to do is look at the polls over the last 3 or 4 days, and it shows that their rage-fueled resistance is starting to backfire.
The president held 2 rallies in 3 days this week, and he's heading back out on the trail for a rally in Kansas on Saturday. But of course, we know he'll be closely following developments on Capitol Hill. Janae Norman, ABC News at the White House.
New unemployment numbers indicate the rate of joblessness in the U.S. has been its lowest in decades. According to the Department of Labor, the unemployment rate fell to 3.7% in September. That's the lowest rate in 49 years since December 1969. 134,000 jobs were added last month. Still, that is below expectations and below the monthly average for the year. The Labor Department says Hurricane Florence impacted results for the month. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.